You've been programmed by some secret organization, not by a hidden elite pulling the strings behind the scenes, but by something much closer to home. Your parents, your teachers, society itself, and most dangerously, your own mind. But here's the big question: are you really you? Or are you just a collection of borrowed thoughts, conditioned responses, and societal expectations? Think about it for a second. The way you talk, the way you dress, the goals you chased, did you actually choose those things? Or were they picked for you before you even had a chance to question them? From the moment you were born, you've been absorbing, mimicking, and conforming. Every compliment, every punishment, every unspoken rule has shaped you into what the world expected you to be. And over time, you forgot who you were before the world told you who to be. But here's the good news: there's a way out. By the end of this video, you'll know how to break free from the illusion of who you think you are. You'll uncover the real youth version of yourself that's been buried under layers of conditioning. The question is, are you ready to wake up? Let me tell you about Jim. On paper, Jim had it all: respect, wealth, a loving family, the kind of life most people envy, a high-paying job, a beautiful home, a social circle full of admiration. He followed the script of success perfectly. But inside, something felt ... off. Every morning, as Jim adjusted his tie in the mirror, a quiet voice whispered, "This is not you." He'd silence it quickly after all. What did it even mean? Of course, this was him. He had built this life with his own choices, hadn't he? But that voice never truly went away. It followed him like a shadow, whispering at the oddest moments during small talk at work, at dinner with his family, even in the quiet moments before bed. Then one day, the illusion shattered. It happened in the middle of a board meeting. Jim sat at the long glass table, nodding along as a colleague spoke. His boss cracked a joke, and everyone laughed, including Jim. But as he chuckled, something inside him cracked. Why was he laughing? Did he even find the joke funny? The realization hit like lightning. He wasn't laughing because he wanted to. He was laughing because it was expected of him. In that instant, the truth became painfully clear. Jim had spent years performing, playing a role so well that even he had started to believe it. He excused himself, rushed to the bathroom, and stared at his reflection. His own face felt unfamiliar, like he was looking at a stranger, a man who had spent decades being what others wanted him to be. And that's when the panic set in. Because if he wasn't the person he'd been acting as, then who was he? Carl Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear to fit in. It's the version of ourselves we piece together to be accepted by society. As children, we learn which behaviors bring approval and which bring rejection. We mold ourselves accordingly. Speak softly, be quiet, express less emotion, calm down, don't have unpopular opinions, just go with the flow. So we adapt. We become what's expected of us. We learn to smile when we don't feel like it. We learn to agree when we actually disagree. We hide parts of ourselves because showing them might mean rejection, and as we grow, we get rewarded for it. The persona helps us survive. It helps us get jobs, make friends, avoid conflict. Society loves people who fit the mold. But at what cost? The cost is authenticity. The cost is the slow erosion of the real you. How many times have you laughed at jokes you didn't find funny? How many times have you held back your real thoughts just to avoid making waves? How many times have you played a role instead of showing up as yourself? It's easy to brush this off as harmless. But here's the truth. The longer you wear the mask, the more you forget who you are beneath it. Until one day, just like Jim, you wake up realizing you've been living someone else's life. There's someone else inside. You, someone you refuse to acknowledge. Someone who lurks beneath the surface of your consciousness, influencing your actions in ways you don't even realize. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the hidden part of your psyche. It holds the emotions, desires, and traits you've been taught to suppress, and the more you push it away, the more power it has over you. But here's the disturbing part. You don't even realize it's there. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Maybe they called you lazy, selfish, or weak. You instantly reacted with anger, defensiveness, maybe even denial. But why? If it wasn't true, why did it bother you so much? Because deep down, some part of you fears it might be true. That's the shadow at work. It stores everything you don't want to admit about yourself: the fears, the flaws, the desires you've buried so deep you've convinced yourself they don't exist. And yet, they do exist. And they influence you every single day, Ever notice how certain people irritate you for no logical reason? Maybe you despise arrogance, yet find yourself drawn to confident people. Maybe you can't stand attention seekers, but a part of you wishes you had the courage to stand out. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The traits you hate in others are reflections of your own shadow. They're parts of yourself you've rejected, you were once told were wrong or unacceptable. Maybe as a child you were punished for being too assertive, so you buried that part of yourself. Now, when you see someone else being bold, it triggers you. Maybe you were taught that showing vulnerability makes you weak, so you suppress your emotions. Now, when you see someone openly express their feelings, you mock them. It's not that you actually hate those traits in others. You hate that you're not allowed to express them yourself. This is why suppressing the shadow is dangerous. Because the more you ignore it, the more control it has over you. It shows up in passive aggressiveness, sudden bursts of rage, self-sabotage, unexplained fears, and insecurities. You can try to bury it, pretend it's not there, wear your persona and act like everything's fine, but the shadow never disappears. It just waits, until one day, when you least expect it, it comes out and it doesn't ask for permission. Most people spend their lives at war with themselves, though they don't even realize it. On the surface, they play their roles being kind, responsible, agreeable. They suppress their anger, their desires, their instincts. They do everything in their power to be seen as good. But deep inside, there's another force at work. It whispers thoughts they'd never dare speak aloud. It fuels urges they pretend they don't have. It makes them react in ways they can't explain. This is the war between the persona and the shadow. The persona, the mask we wear to fit in, tells you to be polite when you want to be blunt. It tells you to be selfless when you crave recognition. It tells you to smile when you want to scream. But the shadow doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It festers in the background, waiting for an opening. Maybe you've felt it before, that moment when you snap over something small, when you lash out and don't know why, when you say something cruel and immediately regret it. That's your suppressed shadow breaking through. This inner war starts in childhood. As kids, we're naturally wild, expressive, and honest. But society teaches us some behaviors are wrong. Don't be so loud. Don't get angry. Don't cry. Don't draw attention to yourself. Slowly, we start cutting off parts of ourselves to be accepted. We learn to present only the side people approve of, the persona. But what happens to everything we suppress? It doesn't just disappear. It turns into anxiety, depression, self-doubt. It creates a constant feeling that something is missing, that you're not really you. Jung warned us, the shadow, when ignored, becomes destructive. Think of a volcano. The pressure builds and builds beneath the surface. If it has no release, it eventually explodes. This is why people with perfect personas often struggle the most. They spend their lives repressing their true emotions, flaws, impulses. Then one day, their shadow bursts out in addiction, breakdowns, or self-sabotage. The more you suppress your shadow, the more it controls you. It shows up in relationships. You keep attracting toxic partners. Why you push people away. Why you sabotage your own happiness. It shows up in your habits. Why you procrastinate. Why you lash out. Why you feel empty even when you have it all. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's the part of you that's been exiled, screaming to be heard. And until you acknowledge it, you'll never be free. So, how do you break free from this false identity the one society, your upbringing, and even your own mind have programmed you to believe? How do you discover the real person you were meant to be before the world told you who to be? Carl Jung called this process individuation, the journey of integrating your persona and your shadow to become whole. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've abandoned or buried. Individuation takes courage, honesty, and deep self. It means confronting your darkness, the parts of yourself you've been taught to reject. But it's the only path to true self-awareness and freedom. Here's how you start. Step 1. Observe your persona. Your persona is the version of you that interacts with the world, the mask you wear to be accepted by society, your family, friends, and even yourself. But how much of it is really you? Take a moment and write down 5 words that describe how others see you. Are you seen as kind, intelligent, funny, responsible, hard-working? Now ask yourself, are these traits truly who I am, or just roles I play to fit in? For example, if people see you as nice, but deep down you constantly suppress your real thoughts. To avoid conflict, then nice is a persona trait, not your authentic self. If people see you as confident, but you secretly battle insecurity, your persona is masking a deeper struggle. Start paying attention to when you act differently in different situations. Do you become quieter around authority figures, more agreeable with friends, more serious at work? Your persona isn't inherently bad, it helps you function in society, but when it becomes your entire identity, you lose touch with your true self. Once you recognize your persona, you can begin to uncover what it's been hiding. Step 2. Identify your shadow. If your persona is what you show the world, your shadow is what you hide. It contains all the emotions, desires, and impulses you were taught to reject. The easiest way to identify your shadow is to look at the people who irritate you the most. Make a list of traits that annoy you in others. Do arrogance, cowardice, or attention-seeking frustrate you? Now ask yourself, why do these traits trigger me so much? Jung believed the qualities we hate most in others often reflect the qualities we suppress in ourselves. If arrogance irritates you, maybe you suppress your own confidence. If cowardice frustrates you, maybe you avoid facing your own fears. If attention seekers annoy you, maybe you secretly crave recognition, but don't allow yourself to seek it. Your shadow isn't just your dark side, it also contains hidden strengths. A shy person might have suppressed boldness waiting to be expressed. A people pleaser might have buried assertiveness. A passive person might have a repressed drive to take control of their life. The traits you deny don't disappear. They manifest unconsciously through anxiety, passive aggression, or self-sabotage. To become whole, you must acknowledge these hidden parts of yourself. Step 3. Integrate the shadow. Embrace the uncomfortable. Once you've identified your shadow, the next step is integration. This means embracing what you've been avoiding and finding healthy ways to express it. Instead of denying your shadow, channel it. If you suppress anger, turn it into assertiveness. Learn to stand up for yourself and set boundaries. If you suppress ambition, allow yourself to strive for more. Stop pretending you don't care about success. If you fear failure, use it as fuel for action. Stop letting fear of what might go wrong stop you from trying. Jung himself faced his subconscious through active imagination, a process of engaging with his shadow in deep inner dialogue. He would imagine speaking to the darker parts of his mind, asking what they wanted, why they existed, and how they could be integrated. You can do the same through journaling, meditation, or creative expression. Write a letter to your shadow. Ask it what it wants. Meditate on moments when you felt deep emotions like anger, shame, or jealousy. What were they trying to tell you? Channel your hidden traits into creativity, art, music, writing. Let them have a voice. The goal isn't to eliminate the shadow, but to accept it as part of who you are. True power comes not from suppressing your darkness, but from owning it. Because when you stop fighting yourself, you finally become whole. For the next 24 hours, become a silent observer of your own life. Watch yourself not as you want to be, but as you truly are. Notice the little moments when you fake a smile to be polite, laugh at a joke that isn't funny just to fit in, or hesitate to speak your mind out of fear of judgment. Observe how often you change yourself to match your surroundings at work, with friends, around family. Then ask yourself, who is really in control? Is it you, or the carefully constructed persona you've been taught to maintain? Remember, breaking free from societal conditioning means questioning the beliefs and roles you've unconsciously accepted. It's about shining a light on those invisible chains, and deciding which ones truly belong to you and which ones you're ready to let go. This journey isn't easy. It requires patience, self-compassion, and courage. But it's the path to reclaiming your authenticity, your freedom, and your true self. Now that you've started observing your persona and identifying your shadow, it's time to dive deeper into what this integration really looks like in everyday life. Because understanding these concepts intellectually is one thing, but living them, feeling them, and making real changes, that's where the transformation happens. First, let's talk about why integration is so important. When you deny parts of yourself, your anger, your ambition, your vulnerability, those parts don't vanish. Instead, they hide in your unconscious, influencing your behavior in ways you don't fully understand. They leak out in passive-aggressive comments, unexplained anxiety, or self-sabotaging habits. And the more you try to suppress them, the stronger they become. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a wild river inside you. Your persona is like a dam, holding back the water to keep things calm and orderly on the surface. But if the dam is too rigid, the pressure builds until it bursts, flooding everything in an uncontrolled way. Integration is about building channels safe, ways for that water to flow without destroying your life. So how do you build those channels? Start small. Integration doesn't mean flipping your entire personality overnight. It's about tiny shifts, allowing yourself to express a little more of what you've been hiding. Maybe it's speaking up when you usually stay quiet, or admitting a fear you usually push away. Maybe it's letting yourself feel sadness instead of bottling it up. These small acts of honesty with yourself and others gradually weaken the walls of your persona and give your shadow a healthy outlet. Practice self-compassion. Facing your shadow can be uncomfortable, even painful. You might uncover parts of yourself you don't like or have been ashamed of. But remember, your shadow isn't some evil monster, it's a part of you, shaped by your experiences and conditioning. Treat yourself like you would a close friend who's struggling. Be patient and kind. The goal isn't to judge or fix yourself, but to understand and accept. Use creative expression. Art, music, writing, dance. These are powerful tools for connecting with your shadow. When words fail, creativity can give voice to feelings and desires that you might not even be fully aware of. Try journaling about moments when you felt conflicted or upset. Don't censor yourself. Write freely, honestly, without worrying about grammar or style. Or pick up a paintbrush or instrument and let your emotions guide you. These practices help bring unconscious material into your conscious awareness, making it easier to work with. Set boundaries. A big part of integration is learning to say no to others and to yourself. Your persona often tries to please and conform, sometimes at the expense of your needs and desires. Start noticing when you agree to things out of obligation or fear of rejection. Practice saying no when something doesn't feel right. Setting boundaries is a way of honoring your true self and protecting your energy. Reflect on your triggers. Your shadow often reveals itself through emotional triggers, those moments when you feel disproportionately angry, hurt, or defensive. Instead of pushing these feelings away, use them as clues. Ask yourself, what is this really about? Is there a part of me that feels rejected, powerless, or afraid? What does this emotion want me to see or understand? By leaning into your triggers with curiosity rather than judgment, you can uncover hidden parts of your shadow and start to heal them. Seek support if needed. This journey can be challenging, and sometimes professional help is invaluable. Therapists, coaches, or support groups can provide guidance, tools, and a safe space to explore your inner world. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. Now, let's circle back to Jim's story. After his breakthrough moment in the boardroom, Jim began to question everything. He noticed how often he smiled to hide discomfort, how he avoided expressing his true opinions, how he felt exhausted pretending to be someone he wasn't. Jim started journaling, writing letters to the parts of himself he'd ignored for years. He allowed himself to feel anger without guilt, to admit ambition without shame. He practiced setting boundaries at work and with friends. Slowly, he reclaimed pieces of himself he thought were lost. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when the old persona tried to pull him back. But with patience and persistence, Jim began to feel more authentic, more alive. His relationships improved because he was no longer hiding behind a mask. His work felt more meaningful because he was pursuing what truly mattered to him. And most importantly, he felt at peace with himself. This is the power of individuation. It's not about perfection or having all the answers. It's about becoming whole, embracing both your light and your darkness, your strengths and your flaws. Because the real you isn't just the polished version you show the world. It's the messy, complex, beautiful human underneath. So, what's next for you? How will you start this journey of self-discovery and integration? Remember, it begins with awareness. Watch your thoughts, your reactions, your patterns. Notice where you're wearing a mask and where you're hiding parts of yourself. Then take one small step, whether it's speaking your truth, exploring your emotions, or setting a boundary. The path won't always be smooth, but every step brings you closer to the freedom of being truly yourself. When you're ready, I'll guide you through the next steps, how to maintain this journey and build a life that reflects your authentic self. Alright, now that you've begun to understand the importance of integration and taken some initial steps, let's talk about how to maintain this journey toward your authentic self. Because individuation isn't a one-time event, it's a lifelong process. It requires ongoing attention, reflection, and commitment. Here's how you keep moving forward. 1. Cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present and fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. It's a powerful tool for staying connected to your true self and noticing when your persona is taking over. When you catch yourself slipping into automatic behaviors like people-pleasing, hiding your feelings, or reacting defensively, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this really me? Or is this my persona trying to protect me? Over time, mindfulness helps you create space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting out of habit or fear, you can choose actions that align with your authentic self. 2. Keep journaling. Writing regularly is one of the best ways to deepen your self. It allows you to explore your inner world safely and honestly. Try different journaling prompts, like, what parts of myself am I hiding right now? When do I feel most like myself? What emotions am I avoiding? What do I need to say but haven't? Don't censor yourself. Let your thoughts flow freely. Over time, patterns will emerge, and you'll gain insights into your shadow and persona. 3. Embrace vulnerability. Being vulnerable means showing up as your true self, even when it feels risky. It's about sharing your fears, doubts, and imperfections with others. This can be scary because it means stepping outside the safety of your persona. But vulnerability builds connection and trust. It allows you to form deeper, more meaningful relationships. Start small. Maybe share a personal story with a close friend or express a difficult emotion honestly. Notice how it feels and what happens when you let your guard down. 4. Practice self-compassion daily. Going to stumble. You'll fall back into old patterns. That's normal. What matters is how you treat yourself when that happens. Instead of beating yourself up, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that growth is messy and imperfect. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. This attitude creates a safe inner environment where your shadow can come forward without fear of rejection or judgment. 5. Set boundaries consistently. Remember how important boundaries are. They protect your energy and honor your true self. Make it a habit to check in with yourself regularly. Are you saying yes because you want to, or because you feel obligated? Are you overextending yourself to keep the peace? Learning to say no is a radical act of self-love and authenticity. It sends a clear message to yourself and others that your needs matter. 6. Surround yourself with supportive people. Your environment plays a huge role in your journey. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, accept your true self, and challenge you to be honest. This might mean distancing yourself from toxic relationships or finding new communities aligned with your values. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. Sharing your journey with others can provide accountability, encouragement, and perspective. 7. Keep exploring your shadow. Integration isn't about a one-time confrontation with your shadow. It's about ongoing exploration. New layers will surface. As you grow, old wounds might reopen. That's okay. Approach your shadow with curiosity, not fear. Ask yourself what it wants to teach you. Use tools like meditation, therapy, or creative expression to keep the dialogue open. 8. Align your actions with your values. Authenticity means living according to your own values, not the ones imposed on you by society or others. Spend time clarifying what truly matters to you. What principles guide your decisions? What kind of person do you want to be? Use these values as a compass to navigate life. When your actions align with your values, you feel more grounded, fulfilled, and true to yourself. Let's revisit Jim one last time. After months of self-work, Jim started making different choices. He stopped saying yes to everything at work. He began expressing his opinions honestly, even when they weren't popular. He rekindled hobbies he'd abandoned and reconnected with old friends who accepted him for who he was. Jim still had moments of doubt and fear. The shadow didn't disappear, it was part of him. But instead of running from it, he learned to listen and work with it. His life didn't become perfect, but it became real, and that made all the difference. So, what does this mean for you? Your journey toward authenticity is ongoing. It's filled with challenges and breakthroughs, setbacks and growth, but every step you take toward integrating your persona and shadow brings you closer to freedom. Freedom from the expectations that have held you back. Freedom to live as your true self. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to be honest with yourself and the world. Your real self has been there all along, waiting beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. Now it's time to meet them. Your journey starts now. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into psychology and self-discovery. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Alright, now that you've got a solid understanding of the journey and how to maintain it, let's talk about some practical tools and mindset shifts that will help you keep this transformation alive and make sure you don't slip back into old patterns. 1. Daily check-ins. Make it a habit to check in with yourself every day. This doesn't have to be complicated, just a few minutes of quiet reflection. Ask yourself questions like, how authentic did I feel today? When did I wear my persona instead of being myself? What emotions did I avoid or suppress? What parts of my shadow showed up? These check-ins help you stay aware and catch yourself before you fall back into autopilot. Over time, this awareness becomes second nature. 2. Affirm your authenticity. Create affirmations that reinforce your commitment to being true to yourself. For example, I am enough just as I am. It's safe for me to express my true feelings. I embrace all parts of myself. Say these out loud every morning or whenever you need a reminder. Affirmations can rewire your brain and help you internalize your worth beyond the persona. 3. Practice radical honesty. This means speaking your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It doesn't mean being harsh or hurtful, but rather being clear and genuine. Start with small things. Sharing your preferences, expressing your opinions, or admitting when you don't know something. As you build confidence, you can tackle bigger conversations. Radical honesty breaks down the walls of the persona and invites deeper connection with others. 4. Create rituals that ground you. Rituals help anchor you in your authentic self. This could be morning meditation, journaling, a walk in nature, or any practice that helps you tune in to your inner world. Consistency is key. These rituals become a safe space where your shadow and persona can coexist peacefully. 5. Embrace imperfection. Of the biggest traps of the persona is the need to appear perfect, but perfection is an illusion. The real you is messy, flawed, and beautifully human. Give yourself permission to make mistakes, to fail, and to be vulnerable. These experiences are where growth happens. 6. Surround yourself with authenticity. Out people who are real with themselves and others. Authentic relationships nurture your growth and encourage you to keep showing up as your true self. Avoid environments that pressure you to conform or hide parts of yourself. 7. Keep learning and growing. The journey of individuation is lifelong. Stay curious, read books, watch videos, attend workshops, or find mentors who inspire you. Every new insight is a step toward deeper self-awareness and freedom. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Your true self isn't hidden somewhere far away. It's been there all along, waiting patiently beneath the masks, the fears, and the conditioning. The journey to authenticity isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you really are. It's about peeling back the layers and embracing every part of yourself, the light and the dark, the strengths and the weaknesses. When you do that, you stop living a borrowed life and start living your own. So, are you ready to take that step? To meet yourself fully and live unapologetically? Because your real journey starts now. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.